What's going on, YouTube? It's Insane, a place to be. Children, Mr. A&D. Back to give you guys a midweek wrestling war. Yes, it's just me by myself right now. My main man, Prime Time, is out there on the road, so shout out to you, Prime. But I was like, well, I don't want to keep missing weeks because I've been watching Dynamite, and there have been some damn good Dynamites. And there's been some good stuff on the NXT 2.0 side as well. And I just haven't done it in a while, and I've been busy with so many other things. And I was like, well, tonight we're going to find a way to make sure that we talk about this because things just happened, mostly for the AEW side, because Tony Khan had another major announcement. And I know I didn't get a chance to talk about the MJF promo from last week, or Buddy Matthews coming into AEW. A lot of things has been happening, but we got a big announcement from Tony Khan tonight, along with the follow-up segment of the MJF promo that was so great from last week, and it's just a lot of good to talk about. And NXT 2.0 wasn't bad too, as we're setting up for Stand and Deliver also, and so a lot of these we got to talk about. So first up, we're going to go into NXT, go into a quick recap of what happened on that show before we get all up into Dynamite. So NXT 2.0, obviously we have a tag team matchup: Braun Breaker and Tommaso Ciampa taking on the Dirty Dogs. Obviously this one last week, Ciampa got screwed over and lost to Dolph Ziggler, so it's going to be Dolph Ziggler versus Braun Breaker at Stand Deliver for the NXT Championship. I mean, it's good that Ziggler's in NXT, get a chance to put some guys over, stuff like that. Right now, it looks like Ciampa had on like a Braun Breaker singlet, and I was singlet, excuse me, and I was just like, yeah, that's not what I want to see Ciampa in at all, to be completely honest with you. But the tag match was pretty cool, but Ciampa hits the fairy tale ending on Ziggler and wins the matchup. So he gets his win back over Ziggler. So that's pretty cool, and that's basically what it was. That was a way to open the show. And I was like, so it's probably going to close with the North American Championship matchup that they had set up for Pete Dunne and Carmelo Hayes, which I thought was going to be a Stand and Deliver, but we got a bigger news for that also. But LA Knight comes to the ring, and the fans are all behind him. And he said him and Grayson Waller had been doing this since before Halloween Havoc, going back and forth. And then he said, they put each other through hell in war games, and then Waller stole his car and blindsided him, taking about action. And then he says, but he's calling out Grayson Waller. Because he keeps throwing out that he's been still standing. So I'm like, I know where this is going. So Grayson Waller and his bodyguard was a Sanga appear up on the stage, and he said the fans are just berating Waller and stuff like that. So LA Knight basically asks him to prove to himself that he got that he has a shred of manhood. And next week, Grayson Waller said it's going to be a last man standing match. I thought that would be a match for Stand and Deliver, because the last man standing with the rivalry that's been going on for them. I thought they'd probably wait till WrestleMania weekend, but no, they're going to do it next week. So maybe because they're going to have other plans for them too. But I'm like, okay, I don't mind seeing a last man standing match on NXT 2.0 next week. We're going over to the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic for the women. Round 1, we got Dakota Kai and Wendy Chu taking on Indy Hartwell and Purser. I don't even know her name. First off, this is my first time being interactive with Wendy Chu. Like I said, I haven't done these reviews in weeks. And I'm like, is this girl coming out here wrestling in pajamas? Like, she's really in a sleeper. Like, you said, a onesie. And she's like wrestling in there. I'm like, how can you wrestle in this shit? It looks like my daughter who runs around the house in her sleep. I'm like, really? I'm like, oh god, see Vince with these kind of gimmicks. Toxic Attraction just up there watching. But after a while, Dakota Kai, so when did you hit like a top rope forward backward splash off the top rope to Prada, and then Dakota Kai hits a double foot stomp, and then they win. I'm like, okay, I don't understand it, but sure. Because they're all mixed tag teams in the first place, so Amari Miller taking on Lash Legend. Lash Legend? I thought Lash Legend, I didn't know what happened to Lash Legend, and I really thought, last time I see Lash Legend, she had a terrible matchup with Soraya 205 Live, was it? Or whatever the case was. Well, now that's NXT Level Up. I thought they were going to ban Last Touch that because we don't see her talk show no more. We don't see any of that because that shit was terrible. Well, actually, Last Touch is in the ring and she's having this match with Amari Miller. Amari Miller is actually pretty good for herself, but Last Touch wins with sort of like a stalling jackhammer in a way. I guess that's what you want to call it. But she wins the matchup, and basically she talks shit after the matchup into the camera, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Like I said, it's hard. I want to pull for my girl Last Legend, but I'm just not liking anything about her character or anything like that. I guess I gotta probably watch her more. I'm guessing, but I guess not. We try. See, Brooke Jensen and Josh Briggs, aka Boot Scootin', was backstage and they were on like a Tinder app or something. And Elektra Lopez walks by and she says, you wouldn't even know what to do with a real woman. Just like, jokes on you. I never been with a real woman. I'm just like, oh God, this is so stereotypical 90s gimmick type shit. Like they got these rednecks don't even know what a woman is. And then I'm like, don't have Elektra Lopez, this beautiful woman, sit there and like she falling for Brooke Jensen or whatever one of their names is, and they go try to do a Otis and Mandy Rose type thing with them, and then Legado Fantasma don't like it. I'm like, I hope not, because I was like, why the hell is Elektra Lopez even back there to begin with? Next up, we have Gunther, Walter to me, taking on Solo Sikoa. So Sikoa attacked Gunther last week, and so he wanted the match. He's still undefeated going into this matchup, but I knew that wasn't going to be the case for long. But he did hold his own for the most part. He goes up for the Uso splash, and then Gunther moves out the way, goes for a sleeper, and then as Solo fights out of it, excuse me. And then Gunther does another forearm in the back of the head and puts him in a submission, and he passes out. And then, but before he passes fully out, Gunther hits 2 power bombs and wins the match that way. So the winner is Gunther. So Dolph Ziggler is interviewed backstage. He says he wants a title shot against Braun Breaker next week. Chad walks over and says Dolph might want something, but he doesn't deserve a damn thing after tonight. Then after they argue, come on, Braun Breaker walks up and says Ziggler doesn't get to call the shots in NXT. Ziggler Breaker says Chavo probably thinks that he can beat him. Chavo says he already has. Breaker says he'll beat them both of them in one night. Ziggler laughs and says good luck with that, kid. So, okay. Draco Anthony versus Harlan, because they're still doing this whole gimmick thing with Joe Gacy. Now, here's the thing. When Joe Gacy first started, I was like, okay, they're turning him into, quotations, woke Kevin Owens. And I was just like, I don't know if I like the quotations woke gimmick type thing or where it's going at. And then I was like, okay, then I started getting behind it because, it's like he's canceled, but he's not really canceled. He comes back and he's doing all the stuff like that. But then all of a sudden, it turned into something else, this whole Harlan thing. And I was like, it's starting to go away from what it used to be. I don't know if I'm still liking it or not, to be honest with you. Joe Gacy has that creepy smile, stuff like that, but I don't know if I'm enjoying it or not. But Draco Anthony, we've seen promos for him coming into NXT, but next thing you know, it's like he has not won a match, I don't think. Well, it didn't change the night. So he lost to Harlan, and that was it. But after the matchup, Harlan picks him up, and then they give him a hug. And it was very, very weird. So, next up, we get another Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We get Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez taking on Valentina Frezzo and Elucia Leon. And I don't know who these women are in tag team, but let me tell you something. There was a spot when Raquel Gonzalez was on the outside, and these women, did like a Big E Kofi Kingston spot where one of the ladies was on the right by the ropes, and one of them ran up and she launched her over the top, and girl got some air. Okay, she truly got some air, and I was like, whoa. Did not expect to see them out there with stuff like that. So, but it was a good matchup. Raquel Gonzalez hits her one-arm powerbomb, and then she tries to hit Jade Like a front face version of it on her opponent. It had very little impact. You could just pin her with the one arm power bomb, and they win the matchup. So obviously they look like they're the mixture team. They have the biggest storyline. They get the most TV time. I figured this is going to be they're going to be the ones that's going to win the Dusty Cup. Andre Chase. Did somebody say Andre Chase versus Von Wagner? When I say snooze fest, because this is two guys I don't want to see. Wagner wins with a modified neckbreaker. I still care less about Von Wagner. Okay, North American Championship match. Thank God, something good. Carmelo Hayes taking on Pete Dunne. Now this is a main event worth it, and these guys put on a show like no other because Carmelo Hayes is just proving that he is just made for this business. He really is, and he out there flying around, and him and Pete Dunne have some pretty decent chemistry. Hayes tries to go for a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, but Pete Dunne breaks his fingers, and then he takes it for the bitter end, but Mello reverses it with a neckbreaker. Goes to top rope, and then Pete Dunne try to climb up, but here comes Trick Williams. Get it grabs his fingers, and then he breaks Trick Williams' fingers, and then Hayes knocks off Pete Dunne, and he goes for the flying famous, which out of all stuff Carmelo Hayes can do, I don't know, that's like a weak finisher to me. And he wins the matchup. After the match, he said he's the gold mine, and they're going to build Fort Knox around him. And he said he's going to WrestleMania weekend to defend the title, the same match that this title was born in, a ladder match. So a ladder match with Carmelo Hayes in it. That's why I was like, okay, maybe they're doing certain matches like Grayson Waller and LA Knight early so they can have them to go inside the ladder match, I'm guessing. So that will be dope because that first ladder match to crown the first ever North American champion, it was Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Ricochet, Lars Sullivan, Killian Dane, and EC3. That was oh my God, that was Takeover New Orleans. I missed that. That was good days of NXT right there. Oh, I loved all that. That was dope. That was completely dope. So, all right, but after all that being said and done, now it is time to move on to AEW Dynamite. So now it is Wednesday, and you do know what that means. So if I had Prime here to do his annoyance of JR, but yes, we have a major announcement coming up, and actually that's what's kicking off the show. Tony Schiavone is in the ring, and Tony Khan is already in there, and he says, "Look, you don't need an introduction. You know who this person is. We had a huge announcement. Let's get right on into it." Tony Khan, let me tell you something. Tony Khan looks like a giddy nerd wrestling fan. That's like, if I see him in the street, I'm not sitting there saying like, yo, this man owns part of the Jaguars with his dad, or this man's a billionaire, or this man's seriously like he just looks like another wrestling nerd that I have seen at so many wrestling cons or wrestling events, and icons of wrestling stands and stuff like that. That's what he looks like, and the way he was talking, that's what it was. Also, he was so giddy, he was so excited, he was so shouting into the mic because he was just like overwhelmed with excitement. Like he talked to the crowd for the first time, like, "Can y'all hear me?" type stuff. And I was like, "Oh, Tony Khan." It's just the first time like we really got to see Tony Khan out here and do all stuff like that. He thanked everybody for being there during the pandemic and during COVID right here at Daly's place, and then he said, well, this is where AEW started, but what started about 20 years ago? Ring of Honor, ROH. And he says, well, I'm letting y'all know right now, we're on the road to the revolution, and the announcement is that I just signed a new deal. I am being the owner of Ring of Honor. And yes, there's no Shane here. There's no Shane. I am the owner of Ring of Honor. So, real quick, that's great news, especially from the wrestling standpoint, because now right now Ring of Honor is just some it's logos and equipment and the tape library, which is the most important thing, the tape library, because they release all the wrestlers. So it ain't like they're coming over here with a roster. Obviously you can't come. What does this mean? I see things in the future because there was rumors saying that Tony Khan may try to strike up a deal with HBO because uh, Warner is over there, and you can so they can stream their stuff on HBO Max while WWE does it on Peacock. Honestly, I am an HBO Max subscriber. I love HBO Max, and if they put AEW stuff on there along with Ring of Honor stuff, that would be dope. Now, for everybody who knows me or who has listened to this podcast over the years or anything like that knows that I'm not the biggest fan of Ring of Honor. I'm not. Like I said, when I grow up, I was raised a WCW guy. I'm old school. Then I became a WWF guy, and then I watched Impact. I watched TNA, and I just never could get into Ring of Honor. Was I excited for when the Ring of Honor stars came over to different places? Like, was I excited for when Samoa Joe came to TNA? Yes. Was I excited when CM Punk came to WWE? Yes. Was I excited for when Tyler Black came over as Seth Rollins? Yes. Like I am, or with Cesaro and Cassius Ohno or Chris Hero, all this kind of stuff. I am happy when they're over there because they have great matches. I'm not going to take that away from Ring of Honor, but Ring of Honor, I just never got into. I was like, that is the dead indies. Like everything, everybody's doing everything the same over there. But I respect Ring of Honor. I respect what goes on today, and I've been to Ring of Honor shows. I've been to Ring of Honor pay-per-views. I've been to Ring of Honor tapings because they do a lot of them here in Philly in the 2300 Arena. So I have been there. So that is a good thing there. But right now, the biggest thing is that tape library. So whatever they have planned for, that tape library. First of all, we get to see All In. They could do All In where everything started for AEW. You could put that on DVD and sell it. And like I said, if they do have a streaming service they want to start up in this year or 2023, because right now AEW has been around 3 years, right? So other than the pay-per-views, excuse me, and other than the shows, and also they have like that, they still don't have that much content, at the run out. But when you add Ring of Honor to it, though, yes, look, the WCW tape library made WWE a lot of money. Okay, it made them a lot of money, and like I said, me being a WCW guy, I still watch my old Thunders and my old Nitros and my WCW Saturday nights all on Peacock if I could find them. You know what I'm saying? But that is some huge news. So I knew it was gonna rock the wrestling company. Now, me personally, me being a nerd and a gamer, also, I'm wondering, like, could this be a case where, like, since the AEW game is taking its good old time, if they were like, we can add Ring of Honor stars in there now just to make one big ass game, you know what I'm saying? So why not? And I'm like, you know what? Why not? Should be no reason why they can't compete with 2K. I'm like, why not? So, but he said, but the first match that ever happened in Ring of Honor between Christopher Daniels and Bryan Danielson, we had it right now, and they're gonna finish that rivalry. So we get Chris Angel, the Falling Angel, Christopher Daniels taking on the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. As you can expect, good match by these two. And like it's an opener. I used to love Christopher Daniels, but I was a huge Christopher Daniels fan back with Triple X. Him, K Quick, and Primetime Elite Skipper. Back in the early days of Impact, and then of course the rivalry between him and AJ Styles. But then in the match, like something happened with his eye. I don't know if he busted a vessel or something, but his eye was like red, like with blood was in it, or the case maybe they had to probably flush that out when they get to the back. But they for Christopher Daniels, who is like in his 50s, like well into his 50s, he was doing good here, and it was going for the best moonsault ever. But Bryan Danielson counted to make sure I get this right, because I do know that I will get blasted if I don't get make sure I'll get the moves right. But well, it was a triangle choke. I don't know if his leg lock. He caught with some sort of submission where he was choking him with his legs, and he's been doing for the previous week, and gave him elbows in the head, and Danielson passed out. So after that, Bryan Danielson got on the microphone. He said, 20 years since the first Ring of Honor show, Christopher Daniels and I were in the main event. At that time, we started the match with a handshake, and we ended the show with the handshake. But here's the thing. I'm not in Ring of Honor. I'm in AEW, and it's time to kick somebody's head in. And then he grabs his arm. We start just, wailing on Christopher Daniels' head. Moxley comes down, storms the ring, and then He said, I can see the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, is better than ever and more violent than ever, but you got it wrong, my friend. I'm at a crossroads, and which path I walk will determine my future. So, I walked out of paddock and my head kicked in on Sunday. I fade to oblivion, but that's not going to happen. I choose to walk down another path. I'll walk down bullets and through you. At the end of the path, I beat the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. And that's the story of Jon Moxley. And it's the first chapter that's going to be written in blood. So, good promo by them. Next up, we get the 15-team Casino Tag Team Royale, which is like a Tag Team Royal Rumble, which is the second one because they did one last week. And honestly, I was like, this is overkill. One, I don't like Tag Team Battle Royals. I don't. Okay? It's rarely enough that I actually like regular Battle Royals, but I definitely don't like the Tag Team Battle Royals. And then both your partner has to be both members of your team had to be eliminated. And I was like, why are we even doing this? Because we seen Red Dragon won last week. You know it's going to be the Young Bucks. I mean, you took all that away. You could have just had the last two teams remaining are going to be the ones that's going to challenge Jurassic Express. But no, we did it this way. I was like, well, maybe Santana Ortiz. No, it's going to be the Young Bucks. But the teams that was in there was Santana Ortiz, FTR, Top Flight is back together. Because like I said, Darius came back. Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, best friends. The Acclaim 2.0. The Young Bucks, the Butcher and the Blade, the Gun Club. Brooke Anderson and Big Shotty Lee Johnson. Then there was a team. Bear Country, the Varsity Blondes, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson, Dark Order. 10 and 5, Dark Order. And Peter Avalon and Ryan Nemeth. I know pretty Peter Avalon was still there. So, obviously, all this matchup is trash. Okay, I really can't say it. It doesn't get interesting until it's down to Top Flight, the Young Bucks, and FTR. Dante Martin takes over Dax, I believe it is, and they're both eliminated. Then Matt Jackson takes over Dash, I believe. It could be the other way around, but still, they are eliminated because Ray Dragon comes out and distracts him while he's on the apron, and then they take him out. So now it's just the Young Bucks. It's both Young Bucks against Darius from Top Flight. And I was just like, oh god. But you know what, that was the best part of the match, because that's when they actually built it to the point where I believed that Darius could actually win. They could actually be given a boost to Top Flight. I mean, Dante Martin's been getting pushed already, right? So I figured this will be the one time where it's like, okay, well, you know what, everybody's thinking the Young Bucks, so why don't we actually put Top Flight up in there, and then we can get somebody fresh and new up in here and give them the tag team championships, and then break off Jungle Boy to a singles thing. I was thinking so many things like that, even having Private Party in there. But look, it was just great action. They try to go for the Meltzer driver, but then Darius gets out and pushes Nick Jackson to the outside, because the first time he almost got eliminated. He was saved by the guy with the cold spray. It's gonna come to me at the worst time. It really is. But now both of them, Darius and Matt, are both on the apron, and they're brawling. But then Matt hits him with a low blow, then waves by, hits with a super kick, and then he's out. So the Young Bucks are going, and they're celebrating the ring with Red Dragon. So I didn't see the backstage stuff with Jericho and Eddie Kingston, but their promo last week was definitely dope. Eddie Kingston has a good job of selling people onto the matchup with his mic work, and he needs to beat Jericho. CM Punk came to the ring, and he says, I wake up in the morning and I used to splash water on my face every morning. I ask myself, am I the bad guy? Up until a week ago, I believed that Max was the bad guy. And for Max to bear his soul like that he did last week, it took a lot of courage. But I can't shake the feeling that I'm being gaslit. I don't believe Max is lying. My question is where his sincerity is. I must be getting off my old age, but I don't think it matters. Now, here's the thing. I did not get a chance to talk about the promo last week about what MJF said. He cut a very great promo. It will be in your best interest to go check out that promo. Really, it was really, really good. And it was really passionate, talking about his upbringing and him trying to football team, and how the football team would throw rolls of quarters at him and call, be anti-Semitic to him, and call him Jew boy and stuff like that. And like I said, I didn't even know he was Jewish, and but I do know, I've heard that people say in interviews that he takes that stuff very seriously. Like, I ain't talking about the character, I'm talking about him in real life. Like, if people talk about that stuff on the internet, stuff like that, then yeah, he has a very big problem, with that, as he should. Say, it's discrimination. As you should. And he had the tears in his eyes and talk about, him going to meet CM Punk, and he was so excited about that. And then for his hero just to walk out like he did, it made him angry, stuff like that. So it's a very good product. Go check it out. And then CM Punk said, "There's a famous picture of me on the internet with when I was younger and I met Steve Austin." He says, "But I've listened to Max Berry, Brian Pillman. I've listened to him say awful things about Darby Allin's uncle." And then he said, "So when I first came here, he introduced himself. I didn't shake his hand." He said, "But in my Dr. Frankenstein, he is the monster." He said, "I don't think there's anything I can say that can be more impactful than what I can do. But I need Max to come out here." And then he says, "So here's the thing. I've done horrible things in my life, but I didn't go do all the stuff that you did because, my favorite superstar walked out on me like Stone Cold. He took his ball home in 2002. He said, but all the things I did, he went down the list of all the heel shit CM Punk did. He said, I mocked a wrestler's addiction until he lost his job. I, covered a legendary wrestler in the ashes of his manager." And then he said, he said, "I poured alcohol down a recovering alcoholic's mouth." Like, it was just a lot of shit that CM Punk did. And he says, "And not only will those things keep you warm, but it's going to burn you up." He said, "So, I woke up this morning, I splashed myself with water, and I looked in the mirror and I asked, 'Are you the good guy?' He said, 'The answer is, I sure am trying.'" So he sends his hand out, and MJF just goes in for a hug, and he hugs him, and CM Punk's just sitting there, just like holding his arms out, like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And then he just goes and finally does hug him, and then as he tries to talk to him, what the MJF does what he's supposed to do, and kicks him right in the balls. And CM Punk is all weak, and then MJF takes off his jacket, his shirt, and reveals a shirt with the picture of him and CM Punk on there. Then Wardlow and Shawn Spears come to the ring with the chain, and Wardlow gives him the diamond ring, and he hits CM Punk with the ring, busts him open, Crimson Mask, and he's beating him down in there, and he knocks him outside the ring. They wrap the dog collar around his neck, and and have it over the ropes. Shawn Spears does, and then MJF says, "The greatest trick the devil ever pulled on everyone was to let everybody think that he doesn't exist." He said, "You stupid old man, I am a snake." And he said, "So come Revolution, I want to show you that I am the devil himself." Great heel work, great heel promo. And Shawn Spears tries to pull on the dog chain, and you can see, he's a choking CM Punk guy. But then here come Darby and Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Sting to fight him off. So I'm like, okay, I like that somebody actually did come out to help CM Punk. So that's one of the matches I am really looking forward to come Revolution. So AEW Women's Champion Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter taking on Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez. So the matchup was alright. It's a tag team matchup. I still don't think like the heat for Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker and all of them, it's just not there like I want it to be. That's why I don't think it's going to be a title change come Revolution. I think we're going to work back up to that. And the second time she goes at it, it's going to be definitely a win for Thunder Rosa. But in the meantime, Thunder Rosa called Britt Baker for a death valley drive for a near fall. And Hayter was there to try to bring up the pin attempt by Thunder Rosa. Then pinned Britt Baker, I believe it was, with a Tiger Driver 98. So afterwards, we get Wardlord taking on Cesar Bononi. It's a simple thing. It's a powerbomb symphony, and then the match is over. Johnson tries to use a chair, but then Wardlord grabs a chair, and then they stare each other down. But backstage, Shawn Spears says, like, we got a plan. Then MJF just says, look, Here's the deal. I'll make a deal with you. If you win the 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 ladder match, basically, I'll let you keep the TNT Championship. Not that you're gonna win it anyway. He says, "Yeah, I'll be too busy helping you win matches." Then he come back and slap him. He says, "Let me tell you something. You're not a wrestler. You're a bodyguard. You work for me. You don't work for AEW. And if you keep talking like that, don't let this not niceness fool you, because you and your family will be out there on the street." Face turn coming at Revolution. I'm calling it right now. Okay, right now. Trios matchup. We have Hangman Page and the Dark Order, John Silver and Alex Reynolds, taking on Adam Cole, Bebe, and Red Dragon. This matchup was not what I expected. I mean, it was just okay. It wasn't really great, the greatest trios match. It was really okay. It was just to help build up stuff for Revolution, obviously. So, Wells makes a blind tag, and then Pop Cole with a knee strike, but Cole fires back, hits with a super kick, and then lowers the knee pad, hits him with the the running knee to the back of the head. I am just all over the place when it comes to not knowing moves, and what's going on tonight. Brandon Cutler was the guy I was thinking of for the Young Bucks. See, I was, that's his name, right? I just could not get that thing out. So after the matchup, Adam Cole and Red Dragon duct tape Adam Page to the ropes, and then they take out the Dark Order. Red Dragon does their little tag team move. Adam Cole hits the Panama Sunrise on Alex Reynolds. There's a super kick on Adam Page, just beat him down. So I think it's going to be a good match, but however, there is not that much heat for it. So that's basically all we have here. Rampage on Friday. There's going to be a TNT Championship Triple Threat match, which I felt should have been on Revolution between Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Andrade. Serena Deeb does a 5-minute challenge. Keith Lee's going to be in action, and All Eagle Ethan Page versus Christian Cage in a Face the Revolution ladder match qualifying match. So that was AEW Dynamite and NXT 2.0 this week. In my personal opinion, AEW won for this week, obviously, with the announcement, everything that went on with it. But post any comments down below. Which one did you guys like? Did you guys like NXT 2.0 this week? AEW Dynamite. Then I don't know if I'm going to be doing a Rampage review. I do them sporadically if I feel like it. That Triple Threat match looks good, but I do plan on going to see the Batman. Hopefully, if everything goes good on Friday. So I don't know if I'll get back in time to do that and review it and have it up, because my work schedule. Same goes for Smackdown, but I do plan on watching Revolution. It may just be me doing the review. Should be out probably Monday morning, hopefully, if I check it out on Sunday. So stay tuned for all that. Hit the subscribe button to get all that great content. Make sure you stay tuned for all the W2K22 news and all this stuff like that. And hit the like button as well. It helps out the video a lot. So once again, this is NCM Place to Be. Children Train Mr. A&D. And the Nerd Coalition is out.